We- the narrative.
May I just ask you why that's funny?
Whether
Sino nga ba ang napahiya? Itong reporter na nag-interview kay Pangulong Marcos o itong si Pangulong Marcos? Dahil sinita nga itong si Pangulong Marcos ng isang reporter na nag-interview sa kanya pagkatapos niyang tumawa sa tanong patungkol sa kanilang umano'y kayamanan na dating kinuha ng kanyang ama noong panahon ng martial law. At marami pang katanungan na ilan sa ating nagustuhan ay itong paninindigan ni Pangulong Marcos na hindi dapat makialam itong ICC sa ating bansa at obviously ito ay politically motivated lamang umano. Daris po ay okay naman ang kanyang mga naging sagot, ngunit mukhang hindi na paghandaan ni Pangulong Marcos Sr. itong tanong ng reporter patungkol sa kanilang kayamanan na kung makukuha o mariretrieve ba nila lahat, handa ba siyang ibalik sa taong bayan? Yan po ang tanong na mukhang hindi na paghandaan at dahil hindi niya masagot ng diretsahan agad mga kababayan ay tumawa muna ito at dito na mukhang napikon ang reporter ng Australian media dahil sa kanyang pagtawa. Panoorin po natin ang naging interview.
Speech to the Australian Parliament, you used unusually strong language. Quoting your own pledge, you said, "I will not allow any attempt by any foreign power to take even 1 inch of our sovereign territory. We will not yield." Are you talking about not giving up Philippines territory in the South China Sea?
absolutely, it is my sworn duty, and the sworn duty of the entire government of the Republic of the Philippines to defend the Constitution of the Philippines. And the first article of the Constitution is the definition of our territorial waters.
You didn't name the former president of the Philippines, Duterte, was making overtures to China, very strong ones. Have you decisively moved away from Chinese influence and back into America's orbit?
I think it's important to make it very, very clear. Whatever the Philippines does because it is in our interest, not because it has been dictated upon us by anyone.
You don't think that your language that you used when you took office and the same language that you used in the Australian Parliament during your visit is a message to China about where you believe your interests lie?
Well, as I explained it to President Xi again, I said it's my duty. I took an oath to defend the Philippines. And anyone who will help me in that regard, I must engage with them.
In relation to the former president, it's clear from the outside that there's been some breakdown in the relationship. I mean, do you intend now to invite the ICC to the Philippines to conduct its investigation more fully into former President Duterte's murderous war on drugs?
No, that would be a political move.
So ito yung nagustuhan po natin mga kababayan po natin. Ang kanyang sagot na ito ay politically motivated lamang at kahit umano may problema sila or mukhang hindi nagkakaintindihan nga itong si Pangulong Marcos at si dating Pangulong Digong ay hindi nagbago ang kanyang polisiya pagdating sa ICC. Ika nga mga kababayan po natin. At kung sa usapang China naman at Amerika, napansin naman po natin talaga na talagang dito na sumasandal ngayon ang ating Pangulo sa Amerika. At talagang lantara na nilalait niya na itong China. So hindi naman natin masisi ang ating gobyerno kahit tayong mga ordinaryong Pilipino ay nanggigigil din po tayo mga kababayan po natin sa ginagawa ng China ngayon pagdating dito sa usapan sa West Philippine Sea. Gaya nga lang nung bagong insidente kita naman siguro natin kung ano ang ginawa nitong dalawang Chinese Coast Guard kinuyog itong Unai Sami na nagdala lamang ng supply para sa ating mga kasundaluhan na naka-steady or nagbabantay diyan sa BRP Sierra Madre. So may mga nasugatan nga umano dahil sa ginawa nitong China na malinaw po na talagang pang-aabuso. So talagang nagustuhan ko dito sa kanyang sagot ay talagang naninindigan siya na proteksyonan at hindi siya papayag na may makuha ang itong mga Chinese sa ating mga teritoryo. At nilinaw niya naman na hindi lang tayo nagkakaroon ng dispute sa China kundi may Vietnam at may Malaysia nga po mga kababayan po natin.
And what we are, we do not play politics with jurisdiction and sovereignty. And the position that we've taken is that we do not recognize the jurisdiction of the ICC, and we view it as a threat to sovereignty, simply because the ICC was formed to conduct, to provide justice to areas where there is no judiciary, where there is no court system, where there is no police, where there is no peace and order. And that's not the Philippines. And therefore, I don't think that their investigations or their actions apply to the Philippines.
If it's not the ICC, then who provides justice for the many thousands? I think the number is something like 12 to 30,000 people who were killed in former President Duterte's war on drugs. How do they get justice?
I think we in the Philippines have, as I said, a functioning police force. We have a functioning judiciary, and that it is their responsibility to take care of that. We have made a great deal of progress in that regard, where many policemen have already been removed from service because they've been found to be liable. Their cases have been filed. Many are already in jail.
You've been a politician for a very long time. You have a very clear understanding of your country's history. And you obviously revere your father. I've seen you talk about him. Do you also understand the costs of his authoritarian rule to people in the Philippines?
Well, it was a very different sort of authoritarian rule. I think when people think of an authoritarian rule, it was non-participatory. Whereas I think the version that my father tried to promote and actually practiced was very much still with the participation of all stakeholders that were involved. It was just a peace and order situation that really dictated the necessity for the declaration of martial law.
Let me just understand make sure that we're talking about the same thing. I think Amnesty records that during that period, 70,000 people were imprisoned, 34,000 tortured, and 3,200 people killed are the numbers. And your father, in an interview, admitted that over 50,000 were detained. So I just want to ask you again, do you accept that there was a human cost to that rule?
There always is. It was war. And with war, the death and destruction is inevitable. But this is a war not declared by the government of the Philippines. This was declared a war. These wars were declared on the government of the Philippines, and both of them were. One was to divide the country, and the other one was to remove the present political system by armed struggle.
Palagay ko mga kababayan po natin, itong interview kay Pangulong Marcos ay mukhang nasentro sa kanyang pamilya. So yung naging istorya nitong martial law, kung ano nga bang nangyari, at patungkol sa kanilang ari-arian at kayamanan. So ang iniisip ko dito ay magiging focus lamang sa mga isyu nangyari sa ating bansa, mapa-local or international. Pero mukhang naging sentro ang kanyang interview sa istorya or history nitong pamilya ng ating Pangulo. Ano, mga kababayan natin?
Series of questions that comes up in relation to your father's time, which is of course the question of corruption, which became wholly associated with the Philippines for a long period of time. I think contemporary court judgments acknowledge the atrocities that were committed, but also the plunder of the country's resources. Why wouldn't you want all of that money back in the hands of the Filipino people?
Well, the narrative.
May I just ask you why that's funny?
Where that?
So ito po mga kababayan po natin, napatawa itong si Marcos Jr. kasi medyo mahirap kasi ang tanong na ito parang napaisip siya, hindi niya agad ma-response or hindi niya agad masagot itong tanong sa kanya, ay napatawa siya. So ito naman normally ang ginagawa natin, kapag hindi natin masagot, napapaisip tayo, mukhang nablangko tayo ng sandali, pwede tayo tumawa, ngumiti, ngunit hindi ito nagets ng reporter at mukhang napikon o nagalit nga.
Why that's funny? I'm asking you a question about the plundering of large sums of money from the Filipino people.
I'm thinking that maintains, that idea maintains, because I take exception to many of the assertions that have been made, and I think we have since the cases were filed, the government fell. Cases were filed against me, my family, the estate, etc. And up to now, we have the assertions that were made, we have shown to be untrue.
Quite a lot of money. I think 5 billion was already recovered. I guess the question is just this: do you not want to see all the money that was taken returned to the people?
Again, we have signed. This family has signed a signed many quit claims. Any money that you find is yours. And finish. And everything was taken from us. We were taken to Hawaii. Everything.
So yan po ang kanyang naging interview, mga kababayan po natin. At sinabi niya naman kung ano yung pera na ma-find out ay ayan, handa siyang i-turn over. So ngayon mga kababayan po natin, lalo na may mga lumalabas na issue na umano'y nakikipag-deal na itong si Pangulong Marcos sa Amerika para mabawi itong mga naka-hold o naka-freeze na kanilang kayamanan. So gaano ito katotoo mga kababayan po natin, at ito kaya ang naging motivation nitong reporter kung bakit naging sentro sa marsyalo at kayamanan ng mga Marcos na umano'y marami nga na kinuha sa ating gobyerno, at ito ang kanyang mga naging sentro sa katanungan, which is ang inaakala po natin ang magiging sentro ng kanyang interview ay patungkol sa pulisiya ng ating gobyerno, ano yung gustong gawin ng Pangulong Marcos para ma-improve itong malala na pagtaas ng mga pangunahing bilihin sa ating bansa. Pero naging sentro nga, ulitin po natin, ay sa pamilyang Marcos sa Marcialo at sa kanilang kayamanan. Kayo po mga kababayan po natin, ano po ang inyong assessment sa naging interview ito? At yan po yung ating panibagong update at reaksyon. Maraming salamat.